2 minutes and counting. Let's do the final. Got a few final little things here to do. A couple of final adjustments. Don't want to take longer than 2 minutes, but it is not always immediate, this kind of stuff. But it's going to be very, very, very soon here. Let me see what I can get over here on this other channel. Like I say, just setting up. And this is getting cool. It's getting really good. Everything's looking good right now. One more channel to go here. Let me see if I can get the last channel up and running. Okay, I got that going. Getting the brainwaves working, that's the main thing. 31 seconds and counting. I think I've got it almost set up. Let me make sure that the brainwaves are on here. This is going to cut down to the last second here. But I think we're going to do it. We're going to get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And one more thing. I've got to edit the scene. And here we go. Doing the HTTP. Is it working? Doesn't seem to work. How can that be? Oh wait, I know. One more small adjustment here. Okay. Now we should do it. And it looks like we are going to have this thing up and running. All right. Thank you very much for your patience. This is Stinietch channel. And the Stinietch channel always includes the brain waves. You can see them right there. You can see those every day on Stinietch. Every time Stinietch is on, you're going to see those brain waves. A lot of people say that that's the most amazing and good thing about this channel. In fact, I'm not so sure about that. I think there's some much more interesting things actually that go on, but it is the only place on internet where you can get chess and brainwaves at the same time. I'm getting kind of a short circuit or something over here. Let me see. What is going on here? Let me just make sure everything is going good here. I'm going to turn down the volume on this. Sorry about this. I'm just going to. I'll be right there. This shouldn't take long. Okay, there. I think I got rid of that ghost. That was the ghost in the box, I guess you could call it. I think we're all ready to go now. Let's see. I got rid of that ghost. Almost. But okay, you know what's going on here. So let's go over here to Lichess, shall we? And first I gotta save this. Okay, everything's saved. Looks like we're ready to go. This is a little bit like NASA, you know, they have that T minus 3 minutes and then they pause it, and then the next day, like 24 hours, you're T minus 1 minute. Well, it's kind of like my channel, but it's because it's high tech. You're just not gonna find anybody that has these brainwaves. It looks simple, but up to the last moment, it takes a lot of planning, a lot of technology, a lot of engineering to get all 5 channels of brainwaves up there: delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, everything working in real time as I'm playing. So, you're in the right place. If you're here for brainwaves, then you're exactly in the right place. Let's go ahead, shall we, and play some games. Maybe we can lose one or a few tonight because we can get some good brainwave data that way. And it might be nice if we lose a few because we've been on a lot of winning streaks lately, and it's just like we're getting lots of data on what it looks like for brainwaves to win. Um, but sometimes we'd like to see a little bit about how. Okay, we're playing Carokan, it's called here, and with the Carokan, there's like a lot of weird things that can happen. I'm gonna move this knight out already. He's gonna come out here for the pin probably. I'm gonna take that knight. It looks like it's good for the taking, and I think I can get a pretty good position out of this. Gonna have to, in any case, to develop this knight, I'm gonna have to bring him here, and then this bishop out either before or after that. I think I can bring the bishop out actually before, and then I can bring the knight here. I might have to block a move. I'm gonna just kind of castle kind of quickly here, and I'm watching the clock. The clock is very important in these 5-minute games. It's just a 5-minute game without any type of increment for moving. And okay, you can watch the brain waves. They're kind of like, they look like they're jumbling up and reshuffling right now during this little interim where I'm waiting. And then we'll get them back online. I mean, they're always online, but we'll get them um, more aligned after we start actually planning and thinking for the next move. I don't know why we're getting this delayed. The opponent took some time. Maybe he's got a phone call. Maybe he's also working in brainwaves and he's doing some adjustments to his EEG. Who knows? But it's kind of makes it easy when you're easier. This night chess is never easy, but it makes it a little bit easier when your opponent has to answer the phone or get a pizza or calm down the kids who are banging each other on the head with the rubber base rubber toys or whatever. So, or I don't know, maybe the cat scratching at the door and wants to go out, but he or she'll be back soon, I think. Okay, well, let's just examine this game while we have time here. I mean, I was expecting this with the bishop and then to interpose here. He didn't do anything like that, but that wouldn't have been too bad because he couldn't. This pawn is in the original position. He wasn't able to bring the queen out fast. This bishop can be attacked really quick by a knight, but my idea is just to bring him back to here. And if he takes, I probably develop the queen out to here. I'm going to castle and then bring the knight out to here. If he takes, I'll take with this pawn, and that will not be a bad position. I'll have these 3 pawns in front of the king. Um, okay, well, I guess we had a kind of easy game there in the beginning. It says now that my opponent left the game. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to call victory because people do that to me sometimes, and some people quit when they get confused and they just, it's the luck of the draw. It'd be really nice and call it a draw or something, but you never know what happens. People take advantage of just like cashing out their chips and going away and leaving you hanging and then expect a draw. But I'm just gonna, take what's rightfully mine, win the game. Okay, here we go. I think we're doing a very similar game, it looks like, but maybe a little bit different. Um, a number of things to do here. I think I'm going to bring the bishop out next, maybe. I was trying to click on my bishop, but I clicked on the wrong thing, but this is not bad either. Maybe it's actually better, who knows. We're going to take this pawn. He took me. I think we're doing okay. I'm going to just kind of like go for equalization, maybe trade him off if I have to. Um, we're not doing too good on the clock right now. It's like my only complaint right now in this game is that we're not doing very well on the clock. I'm going to castle. I'm gonna speed up this clock, do a little bit better on the clock. Um, I have to make sure that I don't just lose that pawn outright. I'll bring the queen back to here, and then I'll kind of protect the center with the bishop up here. I guess the bishop will do double duty on both those pawns. Um, or maybe I'll mix things up here a little bit. I think he was expecting me to do that, but okay. Well, he was getting a kind of a discovered attack on me. I could do the same thing to him. And you see, I moved the knight out there to get a discovered attack. Okay, this is kind of like a crucial move. What should I do with this crucial move? I'm just going to do this. If he brings his queen up, I'll get another discovered attack. Well, I can't do that. Well, yeah, I can. That pawn over there is protected. I'm going to go like this and see what happens. Okay, well, that was not such a great discovered attack, but I'm still in the game. You might call this a gambit. I lost a pawn there in the center. Might even be called an important pawn, but anything can still happen. He still has his king in the middle for whatever that's worth. You could chase that queen a little bit more, or just centralize. Yeah, I could chase him there, but he'll move him up. I think the best thing I can do is move this here and then chase him next turn with the bishop. Chase that king. Wow, he's really coming up like crazy on me, isn't he? Guess attack there, queen. Then I can get this pawn, you see, with some combinations over here. The queen will come back across. Okay, that didn't work, but that kind of gives me a little bit of a play here, maybe, does it? I gotta do something with that knight. Now what do I do with this queen, huh? I have to move him, right? Yes, over here. I gotta move that knight. That knight was kind of a liability. Um, I gotta move the show, get the show on the road. And this is where he's got some really advanced pawns down there. I'm just hoping he won't be able to find a way to capitalize on those. He's gonna come down there. My king can come over. That's my main advantage right now. My king can come over. Before I did that, I was like looking what I can do, and I think I'll have time to bring this rook back. And I don't think, and then I can bring the king over, see. Okay, I lost that. So now, this is tough. Just gonna go there and see what happens. Can always put me in check again. Not playing very well here. Just hoping for like a blunder by my opponent. It's my only hope. Things are not looking very excellent right now. The only thing I can hope for is like I say, like a real blunder. My king really can't advance at all. That attacks the knight. I'm really missing out here on the clock. My only hope is that maybe run him out of time, but that's going to be hard too because all I can see is that. He's going to have to get that other pawn working at some point, I think. Man, this is getting tough. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. This is hard. It's like probably doing the wrong thing, but I've only got 21 seconds on the clock. I'm just down too many pawns. Can't go there. Would like to go there, but I can't. 11 seconds. No, I think this is a kind of a lost game. But okay, well, we're getting some excellent brainwave data. You see how my I'm going to resign. You see how my brainwaves got all scrunched together there when I was completely stymied. And there was an interesting pattern that you don't normally see with the brainwaves, but it's almost like the brainwaves were reflecting how I was feeling. I felt like, what can I do? Like bonds are coming down. They're like squeezing me in, and like my brainwaves just kept getting closer and closer together. So that was like a horrible game, and he wants to rematch. Oh, I can't click. I'm too late. But we'll try another one and hopefully do something more optimistic this time because that game was just a little bit depressing for me. Um, you don't play chess to lose dismally like that. You play chess to make stellar victories. So hopefully we'll do better this time and get like a really stellar victory. That's what we all hope for, right? It's a little bit like the lottery. Um, chess is, I always think it's a little bit like going to the casino because, you put your 50 cents in the slot and you don't win. So, well, I'll win next time. And you put it in it. You're constantly like putting in more and hoping that, well, I've lost so many, I've got to win one now. But every once in a while we do get on a winning streak and it's kind of fun. Um, Never know what to do in this position, but I guess castle and hopefully try to get something on this pawn. Now, in this position, this often works. I don't know why this works, but I like to bring this pawn. Um, okay, I think, let's see. I always look for the sacrifice, but I really can't do it yet. I'm going to be really aggressive and move that pawn up and then threaten to take this pawn next. Okay, so I can take the pawn. At least I'm like equalized on material now. Now he's going to move that pawn up, and I prefer to move my bishop back, and when he moves this up, I will move my pawn up and close down the center. So that's usually the way I like to play it. And now I like to bring this knight in here and bring this pawn up. And we'll see if he allows me to do that. I think he's going to. And I'm going to already do it because I just know that that's a good position and I won't lose a lot of time on my clock. With this pawn here, if he moves this pawn up, I can always just retake, no problem. If he takes this knight here, I'm prepared to lift a rook for an attack over here. There, you see, he did it, and that should be okay. Now I'm going to bring this queen right up into here. Um, and then whatever he does with his bishop, or I'll have a queen coming really strong on this side. That's no problem. I just bring the bishop back. He kind of like closed his knight out of the game right there. If you notice that knight's going to have to reposition to come back somehow. Okay, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on the clock. I'm just going to move my queen out like I was planning. Maybe lift the rook already. Why not? At some point in this attack on the king side, I'm going to want a rook lifted. He can attack my queen right now, but the queen can dodge onto the white squares. Now I can take that pawn if I want to. I have to consider that. I gotta figure out. I don't think that's going to help me. I'm just looking at this. It's not going to help me to open all this up, I don't think. I think the best thing I can do is I'm just going to kind of keep moving, playing that side, bring the queen down here, the rook over. He'll be able to protect this pawn somehow, obviously, with the rook. But at some point, something maybe will give over there. Now he can force my queen out. I'm just kind of playing the clock right now. Um, he can bring that queen out, obviously. But I'm just kind of like preparing, thinking some things. It's kind of closed out over there. This rook here could help to come up here. I would like to get this knight in there somehow. That's interesting with the queen. See, now with the queen, when the queen came up here, he couldn't interpose the bishop anymore. So that gave me a chance to bring this bishop up to a kind of a key square. Allows me to bring my knight up closer. Maybe I'll just do that because I don't want to waste a lot of time here. Um, can double up. I'm going to bring my rook over here to get one more attack on here, on this pawn. 253 to 226. This is not like a stellar attack. I don't think I'm doing this correctly. I took a long time to prepare and everything. When we look on the replay, I think my opponent missed a few defensive moves. The knight is protecting the pawn, but by the same token, the knight can't move. So the knight is kind of like trapped back there. And I can maybe bring this pawn up, attacking the rook. I might just do that. But if he does take the pawn, I come down here, his king can go over there. I think maybe it's better develop a rook up to here. Now if he brings his knight up to here, like he looks like he was planning, I trap the rook. Is he giving me a rook? I mean, in exchange? I guess so. Is that good for me to accept it? Why not? I'm ahead on time and now I have a material advantage. And why don't I just keep going with more material advantage? I mean, I am down, so. Oh, did I just lose the game? Oh, wow. I can't believe I did that. I just was thinking, oh, I gotta move ahead, get the clock, start moving ahead on the clock. But I think I can pull this out anyway. I'm a minute ahead, and I think I'm gonna be able to just pull this out with time. I think so. I mean, I just lost a knight there, but who knows? Strategically, he might now think he's gonna win, and he is gonna win. He's definitely ahead in terms of. I'm just going to move some pawns here and make him maybe stop and think if I'm going to try to make some sort of an advance over there, but I'm not really going to advance at all. I don't want to break up the pawn position or open up any possibilities. Same way on this side over here. To make him think I might bring the bishop in. He's moving fast. He knows that I'm trying to play the clock on him. If he moves the knight up into here, I'll take with the knight. I don't think he's going to be able to. No, it's 58 seconds to 137. I got to make sure I move a little bit faster. Okay, he moved back. I'm going to come back here. Just moving fast now, 49 seconds now. See, he was going to come up here with his knight and bother my rook, so I just moved it over anyway. Give him something to think about. 28 seconds he has. He's advancing a pawn down on me. I'm just doing everything I can right now to keep him from advancing. I can clean up some pawns over here. I think he's got 10 seconds. I got one passed pawn. He's got 8 seconds. Protect the bishop. He's got 5 seconds. Bishop comes back. He's got 1 second. Okay, well, I lost. You could see that I was ahead. Finally, in the end, I won the game. Got some excellent brainwave data. I don't know if you saw everything except delta was jumbled up right together. It was it's on analysis. That's going to be extremely interesting. That was a strange game because I wasn't feeling that good in terms of my brainwaves. My brainwaves get like really ecstatic when I'm I feel like I'm playing very well a game without mistakes, without very many inaccuracies, no blunders. On that game, obviously, I had a big blunder. But then I started to feel also that I was going to be able to succeed on time because I saw that even though I blundered, I had a position that was hard to break through, and I was already ahead on the clock, and I thought he would take too long to break through, and that's exactly what happened. I was able to. You can see here on the game, I had 51 seconds on my clock compared to 0. So I did a dumb thing by blundering, but then a smart thing by making all the correct moves where he couldn't open up the position and come fast to capitalize on the fact that he was, one piece ahead. So, and then I won on the clock. So that was a interesting game in a sense. It was a victory, and in the end, I actually had a pretty bad bad position. I had a few. All I want to say is that I had like a couple of like one extra pawn. No, yeah, one extra pawn, but no, it wasn't a winning situation except for the time. So let's do another one, shall we? That was pretty fun. When you feel like it, jump right in on the chat. I don't know how to read these numbers very well, but it looks like you got 60, 59, 60 viewers. So 61, it keeps going up and down. But anyway, with that many viewers, they say I should have more chatters. But the problem is with this channel, it seems like everybody's just zoning out watching the brainwaves. People love them. They sit there looking at those and they get mesmerized and they kind of forget about chatting. And I don't even know that. I don't know if they know what I'm saying. They're just like watching the brain waves. And that's why I sometimes hate to sign off at night because I know people, are loving just sitting there watching them and everything. But I think we'll play like at least one more. And so everybody can keep enjoying the brainwaves because this is the only channel you get brainwaves in chess. So let's go ahead and do a new opponent, and this is a 5 minute game and plus zero increment, so just 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna do a King's Gambit. They're trying to avoid me from doing the King's Gambit, but I'm just doing it anyway because it's just so much fun to play King's Gambits. And for those of you who know the King's Gambit and love the King's Gambit, you know how it is. It's kind of hard to resist playing the King's Gambit once you understand what it is and everything it can do. Okay, I think it's already time. I think it's already time to advance this pawn up in there. And that I don't know. I always get the idea that that knight move might be premature. And it is or it isn't. I really don't know, but there you see how it is. Um, okay, I'm going to take this already or come down here. No, I can't do that. No, I got to figure out the smart thing. I know there's a smart move here. I can't really attack that another turn because he defends by taking the pawn. I think the best thing I can do is just develop another piece and kind of hope for the best here in the center. If we do the wholesale exchanges, his bishop will come out. This knight's not doing anything. I'm thinking that that could be key. And that bishop is kind of hanging. I'm going to take that bishop first of all. And now this pawn is really hanging, but I would like him to take and I develop my king's queen. So why don't I just try this? And see what happens. Let's see. I'm looking at how this works. You see, he can come out. He can't come out there now because he can't take the knight anymore. It's blocked. But he can take this knight. I have to retake with the pawn. He can exchange queens. Now, a lot of players don't like to do that. And I am threatening this pawn. Another possibility I have, this pawn is under severe attack. I could move him up. And if he takes him, he gets doubled pawns. If he doesn't take him, okay, he went for that exchange. And I don't know if he's going to do the queen exchange or not. He did. Okay, now maybe I should do this move I was thinking, but there. I think that maybe gives me a slight advantage. I'll get his knight stuck over here. But then I gotta figure out something kind of smart here. Maybe just keep moving him up because I can move this up and he has to move his knight back and he gets a little bit jumbled up there in the corner. So that's not too bad from my point of view. Now maybe the king is going to have to come up at some point. So I think I'm already going to centralize the king to a certain amount. Now I got to do something smart here. And the smartest thing I can do is just not let the clock run down too much, I guess. Neither one of us wants to exchange on this file because it just brings the other rook over into a dominating position. Oh, I might be able to bring this here and then up to here and then up into here. It looks strong. I'm going to try that because the knight's not really doing me anything that I can see. He can take my knight. I wanted to bring that knight up in there, but can I still do that? No, I don't know. I'm just going to take him. I can't really. I was planning some things. Okay, now I think the best thing I can do is act like I'm lifting this so he doesn't know I'm doubling so much. And now you see he's going to have a hard time. Let me see. Doom, doom, doom. I think this will work. If he takes this pawn, I win a rook and I also have time to bring my rook back. And if he doesn't take him, I guess I win a pawn. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Now, if these pawns can continue to advance, that's the cool thing about having extra pawns in the center. This pawn will help to protect this pawn. I got the bishop supporting. And luckily, these pawns are kind of lined up correctly against the attack from the bishop. I'm just going to go forward with these and see what happens. I'm down on the clock, so I'm just going to press my luck forward. He's not taking, so maybe just give him a really cramped position. Is it possible for me to win this game? I really don't know. Just going to move these pawns up. I've only got, oh, that was cool. Oh no, I didn't see that. He's got that knight fork. You know, I said it was cool. Oh, look at my brainwaves. Went totally square when I did that. Okay, I'm going to resign. That was a well played game by my opponent, and I really blundered there at the end. But that was fun. I like a game like that because I had a worthy opponent who actually was able to beat me, and I hope I made his day by allowing him to win. It was a tight game, and I kind of like didn't have a clear idea how to proceed, so I was kind of like the game kind of like got a little bit not advancing right there toward the end, and then I blundered. Games tend to go for me. They tend to go a lot with fewer mistakes if I'm able. See, I wanted to do that because if you okay, that's okay. Now I can threaten that pawn. He cannot move his queen out here. I'm going to see, with the knight here, I might get some sort of an interesting attack. The knight attacks this pawn now. Now I can attack the pawn again with this knight. He can, of course, take my pawn with his queen. If he does, though, I'll come out with this knight. I'm just going to do that anyway. I'm going to play the clock here a little bit, hopefully get ahead on time and get my opponent a little bit worried about the clock. I could take that pawn right now. Or I could go for a true king's gambit, maybe. I'll do that. Force the bishop out. If he takes me en passant, I develop my bishop with an attack on this pawn down here. So his knight really can't come over here, because if he does, I put him in check here. I trade a center pawn, but okay, that I have to bring my bishop back. But that's okay. I protect this pawn a little bit better. I think I can castle next move. If he brings his bishop here, I'll just retreat the knight. And I'll lose the pawn in the middle, but this is the king's gambit, right? So you can't just try to hold on to material in the king's gambit. You just gotta just sacrifice pawns and pieces if you have to. And keep going for the strong mating attack. This bishop is not allowing me to castle, so probably the next move I'll bring this. See, now he's got a place he can retreat him now. Maybe I should just try to castle on the other side. I'll castle queenside instead, and this knight is kind of like fixed in position right now because he'll be practically not checkmated, but if I come down here, his king's got one place to go, and it won't be very comfortable for him. And then I'll bring this bishop up to here, and then castle queenside if he gives me that much time. If he brings his bishop up here against this pinned bishop, I'll bring my knight back, and if he takes the knight, I take with the pawn. He thinks he's going to have time to attack me more, but I don't know. Don't think he's going to have time to do it. Okay, I was planning on bringing him back anyway. And I should be able to castle next turn, unless there's something I'm not seeing here. He can't really sacrifice this. I mean, he can, but don't see where it'll help him very much. If that knight goes up to there, oh, I'll have to kick him out. But he didn't do that. That is so weird. I'm going to castle. I think it's my moment. Okay, so he did that, and that's pretty strong. My queen only has like one place to go, which is up here. Alright, now I got to bring my queen back to here. Oh, I see his idea. Okay, but I think I can pull this off. When my knight comes here, I'm going to attack his bishop. Okay, now I think this rook is going to be the one. I got to come over here and protect this bishop. And now's the key move. If I could just figure out something smart to do right now, it would really help me a lot. I think that's the only thing I'm seeing. because it gives me a chance to bring this bishop here and get this rook more developed, and possibly after the bishop's here, this bishop can come out and I get to loosen up and free this position, which was extremely cramped before. He might be thinking I just want to trade that knight, but I really don't care about that knight. I'm just trying to uncramp my position. Because this bishop here, I got to uncramp myself from him. Okay, I'll attack the bishop. He came down and attacked my rook, so I'll attack his bishop. He's going to have to bring the bishop out. He can't really protect it with the knight because I take the knight. Okay, so things are looking weird here. I'm going to come over here where my queen is protected against a check. If I brought him up here, I'd lose my queen. He'd come here, check, and then this queen would take my queen. So did he finally get something there? Well, I can take him. Oh, and then he's got that. I see what he's doing. I'm going to come here, and maybe I can still pull this out. If he takes my queen now, I take his queen. This might be just complicated enough to gain me some time. He's got 45 seconds. And I took his queen. He took me, which is very good. I'm going to use that pawn for a blocker. I mean, I got different possibilities right now, but I'm thinking with 36 seconds on the clock, it's probably more important just to use that pawn as a blocker and take this bishop. Can't do that. I can bring a bishop over into this position. I might just do that. Okay, this will block things pretty good, I think. I hope. We'll see. This will just see this opens up this attack on the bishop. So he's not winning a lot here. He's going to win two pieces for a pawn and a rook. And I still got the blocker, so that worked out pretty good. I just have to play kind of fast now without losing this. Probably, I'm thinking a bishop in the front will help to do some things. Um, this is going to get lost. Need to get myself, he's only got 9 seconds. I'm going to lose this game. I thought I was winning, but can you believe this? Almost anything I do, I've lost this game. I don't see any possibility here. My king can't really move. He's got 5 seconds left is all. Take that bad pawn. He's got 1 second. That's not going to be enough. I'm going to go down here and get a queen. All right, so look at those. You know, exactly when I saw that I was going to, he was going to run out of time. He only had like 1.1 seconds, and he wasn't quite playing the clock too well. I didn't think that he was going to pull off that whole ending. As soon as I saw that I had that pawn, to advance him down, he would probably have to think a little bit, and he was going to waste that time. I think in that last, I can't remember how much time he had on that last move, but very little time. I don't know if it was less than a second or slightly more than a second, but I suddenly started to breathe very well, and you could see it in the brainwave. So I'm not going to do a post-mortem on that because, well, maybe a quick one, just to take a kind of a bird's eye view to see what the game looked like in the opening and everything, how horrible it was for me. But again, I at least won the game. I've been playing the clock pretty good tonight. Oh, look at all these jagged mountain peaks. A lot of mistakes. 6 blunders on my side, 3 blunders on his side, but he had more mistakes. So it's not worth a post-mortem, I don't think. I don't like playing through games with so many mistakes. I'll try to play like a near perfect game and then we'll do a post-mortem on it. And that'll be interesting, at least to do a post-mortem on an opening. Hey, jump right in on the chat whenever you so feel, because the chat's open tonight. It's like nobody's chatting. I don't know what the deal is with the chat. Like we got to liven things up here a little bit and get people more um, garrulous here on the chat screen. So I'm going to do this because if he takes this pawn, I retake with the bishop, and that's pretty strong. If he doesn't take the pawn, I'm going to bring the pawn, the knight up here, complicating things a little bit more. I'm going to develop my bishop, develop my rook. You always just come back with the knight to here and take this pawn if he doesn't protect it. He didn't protect it, so I'm going to take it. Then I can trade him, trade the knight next move for this bishop, which is kind of like a key thing in his defense of this pawn. So that might have been a tactical mistake by black. Let me see. It looks like I can already take that pawn to good advantage. And I'm going to get ready here. I can't really take the pawn right now because if he takes and then I come out here pinning, I think I'm pinning the knight, but he brings the rook over to here. I don't see how to counteract that. So I think I'm just going to I'm going to bring this bishop out just to here and not lose a lot of time on the clock and see what he does. Okay, I think I don't want to castle on this side, but I don't want to castle on this side either. My biggest problem now is just finding a way not to. Maybe I'll keep the king in the center. I'm going to move my rook over there. I'm wasting a lot of time on the clock here, and I shouldn't be doing that. I think I'll keep my king in the center. He's going to bring his knight up there. I'm going to bring my queen up into. He'll backtrack his bishop if I do that. I think the best place for my queen is over here. If the knight comes up here, I'll just trade it off. And here I should be able to bring my queen up into here quite safely, I think. And again, if the knight comes up into here, I trade it off. I'm down a minute on the clock, which is not too cool. Okay, I'm just going to try to play this clock now and just see if I can get something going here. The knight is a little bit protected. I'm just going to like mix things around here a little bit and see, because I just saw that the knight can go here and then up into here. I'm going to kind of like play this fast and see what happens. I had to retake there. And before I did that, I saw that my knight had a escape square down to here. So everything is hunky-dory, as they say, so far. keeping my king in the middle, which was according to plan, basically. Um, I should be further ahead on the clock right now for the type of game I'm playing. I don't know. I'm just going to come up here and try for a sucker mate, I guess, because, well, it's not even a sucker mate, but kinda. He might come down here with his knight, and then I thought maybe I could bring my queen down here, but that's not really going to work. Um, he didn't go for that, so I'm going to come out here and get an attack on this side, on this knight, and I'll take him off the board. Now things are looking better over here. Look, I got that sucker mate suddenly, because this bishop protects this square after he moves his queen. If his queen goes to the wrong place, boom, what's going to happen now? And I talked about the sucker mate, but I said that the rook could come back, and then suddenly I skewered his queen and got my bishop into a position. So you could call that luck if you wanted to, but I did have the plan, to like limit limit his mobility. Okay, that was a kind of an interesting game. You saw my brainwaves all scrunched up there. When I got the win and they were high, and they're supposed to be like that, and then immediately afterwards they all came down because the brainwaves tend to recuperate. They go into high energy states, and then there's a relaxation after you know for sure you got the checkmate and the game's all over. And that was a pretty interesting game. Don't Thinking back, it doesn't seem like it was extremely solid, but let's take a look at the opening and see when things were moving in one direction or another. Okay, so I'm going to click analysis board like you do on Lichess. Some of my viewers don't play on Lichess, and so I always try to explain the interface because it is pretty user friendly though. That's one thing I like about Lichess. Like you just go on there and start clicking. Almost anything you click on will do something. That's another cool thing. Okay, so the opening was extremely good, except he blundered. So you can see I blundered when he blundered because I didn't capitalize on it. But I think it's worth looking at that opening because it was a clean opening all the way up to this gray line, which is starting the middle game. If you take out this mutual blunder, it was very, very, very solid. So I think that one could be worth just clicking through, doing the postmortem on the opening. So why don't we do that? Let's just click through this and see how that was. Um, I think this is just like a really basic opening. This is the Carokan. And when they advance like that, I think it kind of turns into what they call maybe a French game, maybe. I don't know all the names. Yeah, you have to correct me. You can jump in on the chat if I'm getting these names wrong. But this is very common. Black kind of builds up some power on this pawn and will come out with the queen and always has the bishop in reserve if this pawn takes, which white doesn't normally do because the pawn, this pawn protects this pawn, and when you split them up and then you lose this pawn and then you open up lines on your king too. So I bring the queen out for different reasons. He brought his bishop out, and that's like a double, double question mark and minus 4.2 suddenly. That was his giant mistake, and I didn't capitalize it. So I got to figure it out. I think when he does that, I think what I should have done is come down here. See, the bishop was protecting this pawn, and I think that's what it is. I'll click this button because if you click this button, it shows you what to do. And you see, So I'm supposed to come down and take that pawn. And I completely missed that, but I'm going to commit that to memory in this position. When the queen, and the queen very often comes up here. This is a square b6, and the queen very often sits right here, eyeing that pawn and also eyeing this pawn. And then you got to remember, if he moves the bishop out, you should just come right down there. And I'll just do it so you can see what the position would look like. And look at that, minus 3.1. He's going to lose it. Look at the rook. How's he going to defend that rook? And if he moves the knight over to here, you get another pawn here. It doesn't look too good for black. Like, let's see what black should do now. Oh, black, they're saying black should take this pawn. That's it. They say that's the best move. And now white, yeah, it's saying white take the rook. So, but it only gives me minus 1.8. So obviously black has some strong counterplay right now, because I guess it's going to be hard for me to escape with my queen alive out of there. It doesn't look too promising. Like, just in it, like Stockfish is telling me that I can get my queen out apparently, or maybe I sacrifice my queen against the knight, and because I already have a rook. I don't know what I'm going to do to get that queen out of there. Let's just take a look at this and see, because this is an interesting game. Suddenly got interesting, the game that I didn't play because I missed the opportunity. But maybe it's good I missed that opportunity because, okay, let's just keep clicking here and see. So they say that the move for black, I'm just going to play all the best moves now. The move to black is here. And now the best move for white is here. And now the best move for black is here. And now the best move for white is up here. My queen just sits there. And they're saying that the best move for black now is this. I'm almost sure I wouldn't do that though. I'm sure I would probably try to castle, for example, and suddenly white has an advantage. Not much, but a little bit. So that wouldn't have been a good thing. I'll go back and do what it says to do. They say I'm supposed to move this pawn up for some reason. Um, if he if he retakes with this pawn, like I'm a rook ahead right now. I could probably sacrifice a piece if I needed to, and to get my queen out of there. And when I move this pawn up, maybe the idea is to loosen these black squares so eventually the queen can come out. Let's see how that would play out. So they're saying the best thing is for him to take it. Apparently the idea is to loosen things up here in the middle on the black squares. Why couldn't he just take my pawn? Oh, he can't take my pawn because then I take his pawn, and then you see the rook comes to the aid of the queen. So that was the whole idea of that pawn advance. I mean, that's a lot of foresight that Stockfish has. That move that pawn up, and now this pawn up, and then this pawn is immune because it would connect the rook and the. If he takes, it would connect the rook and the queen. So now he has to move his bishop back. And now I can take the pawn, and then white castles over here, and then I take the bishop, put him in check. This is a really complicated game. I would never pull this out in real life. I mean, I'm glad I didn't take that move, because I would have lost my queen outright by now, I think. Because I don't have this much patience. You gotta really be patient. But I'm at the same token, it's hard for him to take the queen, but he can take it now pretty quick. But he couldn't move the knight out the last move because the knight is the only thing protecting this pawn. So if he had moved it out the last move to attack the queen with the rook, I would have escaped with my queen here. So before he moves the knight out here or here, he needs to slide the queen over to protect right there. And now I can protect the pawn again here, so he still can't slide the knight out because I can escape with my queen. So yeah, this is a long game with that queen still sitting over there in the corner. And black is still ahead, still 3 points ahead. Apparently it's hard for white to actually win that queen. And then white comes up here. Seems like black has to castle at some point. Oh, this is interesting. The knight comes up to help the queen escape. The knight comes up here to give the queen the chance to come up into this square. So probably black has to take the knight. And now I think it's quite obvious that the rook needs to take, because again, the queen's going to come out onto this square if the knight moves. The queen comes out here. So now the rook comes over here. When am I going to be able to castle? It's saying that I'm supposed to take that pawn with my knight, like just take that pawn with my knight, it says. Stockfish says that. Can you understand why I do that? Take that pawn with my knight. And then I can't see the sense of it, but Stockfish continues to say that at the deep level it is. So it's at a depth of 23. So I'm just going to take it. And now they take me. Now, why did I take that? What can I do that I couldn't do before? Don't know why I couldn't have done that before. It's so weird. Why couldn't I have done that before? I'm just curious. I'm going to go back here. Like they wanted me to sacrifice my knight. But instead of sacrificing the knight, what if I do this? Puts me down a little bit for some reason. Anyway, you can see that was a really complicated, really complicated deal. So I guess just click through the opening one more time really quick, the way I actually played it. And I would probably play it the same way next time. I'm not going to take that pawn down there. And you see, the opening is all really good. Um, I'm doing very well. In fact, I got -3. Like right now we're out of the opening according to it. I'm in the mid game already, but so black played a good, very good opening and middle game in this case. I missed that one blunder, but you see white was never ahead. I blundered way over here, and white got ahead a little bit, like 1 point. So it was actually a pretty solid game. You know, you'd call that a blunder, but it was just like I say, I don't know if it was a blunder because we clicked it through and we saw how tricky it was. So probably let's just do the postmortem on this because it is pretty interesting game. Carokan. This is how this version of the Carokan is played, and it's played strong by black in this case. And you can see clicking through. When the pawn comes up here, just bring the knight back. And that was a blunder. That was right there, put me way down. Like if he misses the fact that I'll back that up so you can see how that was. When he moves his pawn up, just always bring your knight back there. If he brings the pawn up further, just bring him back where he was. And if he doesn't protect his pawn, just take it. And then in this case, I just simplified by taking the bishop because I knew I was going to get some lines on this king. and we're still ahead, still ahead, still ahead. I think I lost the thread of the thing, like right around here. I know he got ahead. Right there, he got ahead. He's still ahead, but I got this tricky game. Remember, I told you I came over here, um, and I'm already -2, which means that's good for me. And I talked about this during the game that I had a checkmate, except then I said, well, I don't because he brings his rook back. But then you'll see in a couple more moves, I'm going to be able to control this white square, and then I can do that. See, he came up with his bishop there. That bishop came out of this line. I brought my bishop up to come into the right line. He brought his knight here. Now suddenly I take his knight. I don't know if I had to do that. Let me see. I'll click back. I think, yeah, it's better for me to take the knight. If I move up here right now, he takes me down here and complicates stuff a lot. So the best thing to do is take the knight. Then I move the bishop here. It's a big question mark because he can bring the queen um, back to here or back to here, and I can't do this move. But if he moves anywhere else, like he moved there, and now look, checkmate in 2. Because remember, I got the bishop here now, so he can't bring the rook back and come down there, check. And he's got his king cannot go up because I positioned the knight here a few moves ago, you'll remember. And then I brought the bishop out to help with this mate. And now if he moves his rook back, it's still checkmate because the queen is defended by the bishop. So I hope you liked the game. That was a lot of fun. My brain waves are all stretched out and relaxed now because it's a little bit of tension, I guess, doing these streams. And it knows I was going to sign off. I'm going to say goodbye. So that's why I did that. Yeah, they're kind of bunched up right now, too, because maybe we're getting just a little bit like, oh, although I do like to sign off, I realize a lot of the people that love to watch the brainwaves are going to just get shocked when they disappear. They're going to disappear in a little bit. But that's okay. They'll be back tomorrow and be my follower. If you're my follower, you receive notifications from Twitch that tell you when I'm going to be on. As soon as next time I'm on, you you see it, you come, you got 2 options. You can sit there, be mesmerized, zone out, watching the brain waves, or you can jump in on the chat. So either way, you're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll see you. We'll see you next time. That was a great stream. Have a good one.